We're going to go over how to unlock your magnetic masculine power. So your masculine power, and our sexual energy is so powerful. And there shouldn't be any shame over our sexual energy. We're literally created from sexual energy. And unlocking that power without settling, feeling disconnected. So sometimes in relationships, you can feel like, oh, this can be so draining, or this is a lot. But when you start to disconnect or put walls and barriers up, and then we don't have that intimacy in the relationships, and things can't go as deep. We can't have that passion that we're really wanting when we are disconnected. So being able to really feel connected, and we don't want to continue to endure unfulfilled desires. Like, you can have so many desires, and we can long to experience something with more depth, more passion. And for you to want to feel desired, I know as men, it can feel frustrating. From what I've had my clients share with me, is it's so frustrating when, men may desire sex more often than women do. And I did a really amazing podcast interview that came out, I believe, last week, with another master coach that I'm friends with named Lee Davey. And we dove deep into that about, the orgasm gap, and, how, what's really happening underneath that can cause women to not desire sex as often as men. So I really want to share some more empowering information on that with you. Now, while you're here today, you're a man who wants to increase your magnetism and really draw things to you. And it just doesn't have to be women. It can just be like things in the world, what you're wanting, what your goals are, what your desires are, and also increasing your energy. Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling sluggish? Are you feeling disconnected from the world and feeling kind of blah? You want to be more confident, or I say confident, in the bedroom and beyond, because how we show up in the bedroom is how we show up in the boardroom, is how we show up in the Zoom room. And so how we do one thing is how we do everything. And when you master this area of your life, it's so powerful. My clients will tell me all the time, I had no idea that unlocking this piece of my life was going to be the thing that unlocked everything. It reminds me back in the day when I would play Minesweeper. I don't know if any of you have played that game. When you play Minesweeper, you're just here ticking little boxes, and all of a sudden you undo a box, and then everything would open up and expand. And I feel like that's what this does for us, right? And when we're having that, like, our whole world unlocks, and there's so much shame around our sex, our sexuality, our sexual expression. And so we literally will dim our sexual energy, dim our desires, because also there's a lot of pressure in the world to be the nice guy, right? For women to feel safe. And it is important for women to feel safe. But if we're not shining our light, if we're not being in our full essence, our fullest expression, like, we can't really be felt. And it's really impacting how we're received in the world. But so my clients will say, wow, when I unlock this piece of my life, it unlocks so many different areas of my life. It's really crazy. And people will do all this self-work in all these other areas in their lives and won't do this, and they'll come to me for this, and then boom, things just take off in their business and relationships, and not just sexual relationships. For me, with Tantra, whenever I started having these changes, it improved the relationships I have with my coworkers when I was working as a nurse, with my friends, my family, all across the board, because the relationship you have with you, that's the determining factor. And so that's what Tantra helped me do, have a healthy relationship with myself. And when I began doing that, all my relationships around me became healthier, because other people, especially your lover, they're just mirrors, and they're mirroring and reflecting back to us the relationship that we have with ourselves, right? Whether we like it or not. So sometimes if we're not liking what they're showing us, we have to really sit with that too. Like, what is this wanting to teach me? So all things unlock when we start to change that relationship, how we relate to ourselves. Are we connected to ourselves? And when we can be our own best lover, we become better lovers. And the other thing is just wanting to be desired. We all love, not just, women, men too. We all long to be desired. That's such an amazing feeling. And a lot of times in our modern world, we can be so disconnected from these things. Who this training is for. This is for you if you're tired of feeling controlled by your sexual urges, you're tired of feeling frustrated and defeated by challenges in the bedroom. And on the first one, I'll go back. Being controlled of sexual urges, I also support men that have challenges with porn addiction, or even just, ejaculating so frequently that you're feeling really drained, because you're literally draining your life force energy when you ejaculate more frequently. And I'll talk more into that. You may not be aware of that. If you're feeling controlled of your urges and you feel like that is running the show, instead of you being able to focus in on, like, your projects, your purpose, your other passions outside of the bedroom, that, and you could be leaking energy, even leaking sexual energy. And then again, you don't want to feel frustrated or defeated by any challenges in the bedroom. And again, more energy for success in love and in life. And these things also help you tap into your creative genius. Who this training is not for, this is not for you if you're not willing to challenge your beliefs and explore new possibilities for personal growth and sexual empowerment. If you aren't open to embracing a holistic approach to sexual wellness and are solely seeking a quick fix or overnight solution, because you got to think the challenges that you might be experiencing, they didn't happen overnight. These things can happen over repetition over a period of time. And that's why when I work with my clients, I work with neuroplasticity, which has to do with your brain. Your brain is your largest sex organ. And with neuroplasticity, we want to create longer pleasure pathways, new ways of how we start doing things, because things we become habitual when we continue to do things the same way all the time. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. So we have to pay attention to how we show up in the world. And if you're not committed to investing time and effort into your own transformation and just being proactive and taking steps to overcome any challenges that you might be having. My goal today is just to show you how you can use that sexual energy for more success, again, more creativity and passion in your life. And part of that is, if you may not be familiar with Tantra, but in Tantra, they know that we have this ancient wisdom from over 5,000 years ago. And I'm a certified Tantra educator, and we have these energy centers in our bodies that are called chakras. And there's these little spinning wheels of energy, and they're related to different areas in our bodies that are related to different organs. The sacral chakra, which is around our navel area, that one is connected to our sexual energy, but also to our creativity. And also the sacral chakra, it's connected like to our mouth. It's a pleasure center as well. And it's connected to our mouth and also to our sex organs. So a lot of times if you see people that are suppressing their sexuality and their sexual energy, or you see women that are not having sex anymore or being celibate, will turn to food to stimulate those sexual centers. You've heard women say like, oh my gosh, this tastes better than sex. They're stimulating that sacral chakra. So you're going to stimulate it through, if you're not having sex with someone else, have sex with yourself, have self-pleasure, because pleasure is medicine. So just knowing how this energy helps with your vitality, it's your chi, it's your life force energy, and how you can channel it. We were created from this, but you can create a whole new life for yourself with it. You don't just have to create a human life with it. And I'm going to dive deeper into that. And also how you don't need to fuck like a porn star to be an epic lover. Honestly, porn stars aren't that great in bed. It is acting. A lot of people don't get that. You can actually have better sex than what you would see in a porno whenever you learn these things. But, a lot of times in our society, we just think porn star, we equate it with a celebrity, or they must be really good at it. They're getting paid to do that. They're getting paid to act. And the female porn stars are also actresses. They're not always enjoying it as much as you think in those movies. And my other goal is that you can finally experience a passionate life of being empowered by your sexual energy and no longer controlled by it. A quote that says, men who are slaves to their sexual energy are not successful. It's the men that are able to control and master that sexual energy, because they're more focused men, and focused men are successful men. So you don't want your sexual energy running the show. I'm going to give you a quick lay of the land today, what to anticipate. We'll be here together for 90 minutes. And initially, I'll just give you a quick background on who I am, especially if this is our first time to interact with one another. So a little bit about who I am. Then I'm going to go into the workshop content. We're going to dive really deep into some of these topics here. And then I have a special offering and program if you want deeper support on these topics and you want to take it to a whole other level. And I'm going to go over and share that for a few minutes. And then that's going to be followed by a Q&A where you're going to get your questions answered. So I really love in the Q&A, and just know this is a safe, shame-free space where you can get your questions answered. And whenever you ask a question, you're also helping other people here within the group or who tune in on the replay, because a lot of times we can not feel comfortable having these conversations. If you think about it in our modern world, we can talk and have a conversation about sex, but usually it's kept more superficial. Even me, as sex positive as I am, majority of people, they really don't dive deep into this conversation. It usually stays more a surface level area. So it's really great to be able to have these kind of conversations in safe spaces. Get the most out of this workshop today, just be sure to be present. And also, the more you can be present and dropped in for something, you're also better as a lover. Your presence is the gift. For me, I had a lover before that I had 20 orgasms with him. And this was before Tantra. And he shared with me later, like, oh, I was thinking of math equations in my head, so I wouldn't finish too fast. I never could figure out why I didn't want to be with him again because I mean, hello, I had 20 orgasms. But then when I started learning Tantra over a decade later, I realized, oh my goodness, it was that he was disconnected from me because even though he was physically with me and he was being performative, which that's a lot of what people think sex is about now, he wasn't really present and dropped in. And women were very intuitive. So I couldn't really feel him being present because he was distracting himself, and so that made me not want to be with him again. And we're still friends to this day. He gets a little frustrated about this, but I'm just like, that's just what happened for me. So you can last a long time through a medication or Viagra or something like that. But if you don't know how to be fully present, you're missing out on a lot. And women aren't going to desire you as much because they really long for that. Like that's the biggest gift, especially in our fast paced world. We're constantly distracted and everything is hooking our attention. So just, if you can put your phone on airplane mode and set it aside and just really drop in so that you can get the most out of this time that we're going to share together today. Be engaged in the chat box, drop any questions. Again, if you're just popping in, share where in the world you're tuning in from. I'd love to know. And I won't be answering the questions until the Q&A section, but so if you want to be sure you don't forget the question and you're inspired, just drop it in there. And then you can ask the question later. Take any notes and maintain confidentiality. So feel free as I'm sharing, if you want to take a screenshot or something or put it on social media and tag me. I always love that. I appreciate that. But if anyone else is sharing and they're on camera, don't take any images of that and don't share any names or any personal stories. You can always share what you learned and what you took away from this, but just to respect the confidentiality of other people. I've been a nurse for decades, so I'm hip to the HIPAA, and I'm always really big on confidentiality because that can create more safety in these spaces and conversations. So who I am, Dominique DeVita. I'm a registered nurse, master intimacy coach, trauma informed, and I help men tap into their sexual energy to unlock a level of creativity that makes their love life and their businesses just take off. You just whole new levels. Since I discovered Tantra, I began attracting amazing lovers, better lovers than ever. And I live a passionate life. I have better relationships with my friends, my family's colleagues, and I'm empowered by my sexual energy and not controlled by it. Because in the past, I operated from my masculine a lot, and I operated like Samantha from Sex and the City. And I was approaching sex like a dude, and I was like very ego based. And then I understood the power of the energy of my sexual energy, and then I started changing it, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to just share my energy, and I'm not going to do this with just anyone. I went from toxic relationships and shallow sex to having soulgasms, manifesting amazing experiences, connecting with my passion and purpose, and impacting thousands of people's lives. Outside the bedroom, but inside their bedrooms through helping people, being on podcasts and coaching my clients. Now, this is me assisting with robotic surgery. I have a special training where I can take the role of an assisting surgeon and assist with any surgeries. I went from open heart, assisting with open heart surgeries, and I discovered Tantra is really the tool to open hearts. That's why I left it all behind my 30-year career as a nurse. But there I am working with $1 million robot and assisting with a robotic surgery. And to the right, I'm doing some volunteer work in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam at the trauma hospital. I was teaching advanced cardiac life support to the anesthesiologist there. I've done volunteer work in Haiti, Vietnam, and Mexico. But I've spent over 10,000 hours studying everything from Tantra, becoming a certified educator, and my decades of experience as a nurse, how the human body, anatomy, and physiology works, and then going into learning all about transformation and how to heal trauma, and becoming a trauma-informed master coach. Here I am. I've always been studying. I nerd out on this. I'm a sex geek. This is me on Playboy Radio with Taylor Wayne. And this is me in LA at a slut walk with Amber Rose. I'm on a mission to inspire men to tap into their sexual energy and inner greatness and go make their impact on the world. Because when we think about, like, if you just really sit and think about what kind of sex education did you receive as a kid, as a teenager, if you did, it's usually about shame. It's like, don't get, or fear-based, like don't get a STD, don't get pregnant, wait until you're married. But no one talks about how pleasure is medicine or how powerful our sexual energy can be. And it's so bizarre to me that, there's so much shame around this because our sexual energy, we were literally created from sexual energy. We were literally created from that. And there should be no shame in such creation. And if you want to go back, we don't have to just create a human life with our sexual energy. This is a great way to set a reset button. And we can create that, do the reset button and tap into this energy to recreate things in our lives. Because if our life started from this space, wouldn't that be the exact energy to dive into to recreate our life for ourselves, to start a new path, to begin anew? And so, for me, whenever I had a lover that had mastered Tantra and he knew how to separate his orgasm from his ejaculation, he knew he did a lot of meditative practices, which are white Tantra. He could be fully present and tapped in. Whenever he was able to do that, had experiences of pleasure that I never knew were possible. And a lot of men don't know that you can have sex like this. Because what do we do when we don't get the right sex education out of curiosity? Even I have, you look at porn. We think that that's what we're supposed to be doing. Those are the professionals, right? And so the men continue to try to have sex this way. And it's really dumbing us all down as to what we can experience. And sex becomes like performative. Okay. And so, it's so much deeper than that. We could experience so much more. Just like when you watch sex, when you watch porn, you wouldn't go and learn how to drive by watching the Fast and Furious movie, right? You're not going to go and try that. And there should be a warning on porn of like, do not try this at home, because that's really not what women desire. And we have a big orgasm gap in our modern world because men aren't understanding women's desires, and you're trying to have sex in a way that you think is what women would want, because women seem to be enjoying it when they're acting in porn, but it's not. Even my friend Taylor Wayne will call whenever she would go to work. She wouldn't even consider it sex when she was on set. She was like, oh, that thing I do, that's cardio with penetration. She didn't even consider that as sex. And I introduced her to her current husband. He was a surgeon I worked with. And I told him before they went on their first date, I said, whatever you do, do not have sex with her like you see in a porn. They're not going to want that. They're being paid to do that. That's not what they want in their real life. And so, but you don't know. If no one teaches us how powerful sex can be, we don't know to attain for anything higher. So before I had my experience with a tantric lover, I was already having better sex than the majority of my friends, like 90% of my friends. They would tell me, oh, the sex tip you told me saved my marriage. Always asking me for sex advice. They would tell me I should write a book. I was already a recurring guest on Playboy Radio. I thought I had it all figured out. I was like, all right, boom, I'm having the best sex. Yes, amazing. I knew how to have orgasms. I was very empowered with my sexuality. Then I had this experience with this lover, and it's the sexual healing that Marvin Gaye would sing about. And I realized that I had been merely scratching the surface of what was possible for me to experience. That's like the tip of the iceberg. And so men, like what you're really able to offer your lover through sex is so much more profound and powerful than what you think. It's like almost an illusion that we're getting with porn, right? And, women really crave that. Like if you could have sex like this, women would be begging the men for more sex, but it's that men are usually doing sex in a way that isn't really what women want. This way, I was able to have prolonged states of ecstatic bliss for hours with no substances in our bodies. And, pleasure is medicine. And I saw a really great poem that this woman has said that I can share on my website, and I'll be sharing soon. And it's called, it's Ode to Conscious Cock. And so if you're able to, if women can experience these amazing healing levels of pleasure in our bodies, is so, I can't even tell you, like, and if you know how to really connect and be present there with them, it's going to be so deeply healing for you as well, because you'll see how powerful you are, and you can experience a level of pleasure and share that with someone that you never even knew was possible. It's literally life-changing. And it changed my life a decade ago. So to unleash your magnetic sexual power, when that's unleashed, you're a man, you're going to radiate confidence and magnetism. and you embody that like raw sexual energy. And we know that energy that can be felt, like when we're completely in our turn on and we're lit up with it and we're not feeling shame or disconnected from it or repressing it, suppressing it down. And then your aura can be felt whenever you enter a room. You know, when people enter a room, sometimes people enter a room and you're like, oh, I'd really like to know that person. And they're just the room you can feel the energy of the room shift because our auric field is, 3 to 4 feet around us. And if our chakras and our energy centers are fully open as well, then we're increasing that vibration with our auric field and we're raising that. And so, these practices help you to be able to do that so you can actually be felt and shift the energy in the room. It's like you bringing your own weather instead of you being under the influence of someone else's weather. Like, what is the energy? How are you showing up? And you magnetize things to you. My clients are like, wow, women are just coming up to me. It's really amazing. So you embodying, you're comfortable with that. But a lot of times in our modern world, we all, men and women, we're disconnected from our sexual energy. We operate like robots, where you're operating from the neck up. And when you're overthinking, you're under feeling. So I love this quote by Paulo Coelho that says, anyone who is observant knows that sexual energy comes into play before sex even takes place. Again, he wrote the amazing book called The Alchemist. But that sexual energy can be felt and that desire can be felt. That's palpable. And when you're really comfortable with your own sexual energy, your life force, your chi, your vital force energy within you, right? And you know how to have that dance with that, then you're actually able to feel the energy of your lover. And even though they can communicate with you what their desires are, sometimes you can just intuitively feel into what they're wanting. And lovemaking goes to all new levels. Now, why it's important that you understand this is that when you're frequently ejaculating, because ejaculation for men drains their life force energy. I want you to think about like a battery, you're constantly draining that energy down. For women, we lose our life force energy, our chi energy through pregnancy, childbirth, menstruation. Males lose that energy through ejaculation. That's why after sex, you'll see that men will quickly fall asleep, whereas women will be more talkative, right? And so, if you are constantly ejaculating, then you're draining yourself. You're not showing up to the world in your most creativity. That's why professional boxers or Muhammad Ali, for a big match, they wouldn't have sex because you don't have that extra oomph to go in at life and the things and the goals and the things you're passionate about. And even subconsciously, sometimes if men pull away right after sex from a woman, it's really like your body, all of the millions, all the cells and all the fluid that just released from your body, how many lives could that have created, right? So you're having to rebuild that reserve of that. So that's why they believe that on average for men and women, that on average, the lifespan for women is longer. The Taoist beliefs, which is very similar to Tantra practices as well. The Taoist and Chinese stuff and Chinese and Eastern medicine is that the reason the lifespan for women is longer than men is because of frequent ejaculation and you diminish the vitality. So again, it impacts how you show up in the world, if you show up in the full power. And I've spent, thousands of hours studying that and different techniques and practices that can transform your life and your business because it helps you to thrive and make a positive impact in the world with your magnetism, because you literally start to drawing things to you, like law of attraction. And this was talked about in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, published almost 100 years ago. One of the top self-help books on business. And even I get pushback talking about sex now. Can you imagine then him trying to talk about it? And he dedicated a whole chapter, but this book was based on him talking to the wealthiest, most successful people in this time period and doing studies and seeing what were the things, what were their habits, what were the things that they were doing that had them be so successful. And it's a lot of them talked about sexual transmutation, channeling their sexual energy and desires into other areas of their lives. And it's believed that like Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, that they knew how to do this as well because it helps you tap into your creative genius. And even Nikola Tesla spent time in India, which is where Tantra is from. So Tantra helps you with these sexual transmutation practices, and it does increase your magnetism as well. Now, why so many young men are single and sexless? Relationship trends are jeopardizing intimacy skills. The way we modern day dating is really can be lacking in so many areas. And this was taken from Psychology Today. Recent research shows that over 60% of men, young men, are currently single, and sexual intimacy is at a 30-year low across genders. Men must prioritize real life relationships and attune to those shifts, because women have started to prioritize this already. Women have been doing a lot of their work, and I know there's a lot of women that still need to do their work, and it can be a really hot mess, and I used to be one of those women. So it's not to shame anyone, but a lot of women are been doing a lot of work or getting therapy and working on themselves. And so it's kind of raising the bar of what the expectation that they have are in men, and realizing that we don't want to continue these unhealthy cycles and relationships. So you're seeing much lower rates of marriages and things like that, because people are, taking a step back from modern day dating. Now, I'm going to share with you how to be an unforgettable lover that women crave. I'm going to go on this. And part of this is what Tantra, the 3 tenets of Tantra are breath, sound, and movement. So one thing is a white Tantra practice is to meditate. And the reason that meditation helps you so much is your brain is your largest sex organ. And again, when we're overthinking, we're underfeeling. So for women, if women are able to be the longer a woman can be in a meditative state, the easier it is for them to orgasm. The longer a man can be in a meditative state, the longer he will last in bed. And again, what Tantra helps you with is it helps you to use your 5 senses and drop down and connect into your body. So breathing, taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. One, it helps to regulate and calm your nervous system, which makes you desirable. And for women, if we can breathe deeply during sex, and can you have nice, long, slow, deep breaths, we'll be more orgasmic. If men, you'll be able to last longer as well if you're breathing deep down into your belly and taking nice, long, slow, deep breathing, and encouraging your lover, whisper in her ear and have her continue to breathe. Because a lot of times women, we unconsciously will hold our breath for a moment when the pleasure starts to build up, and then our orgasm will disappear. And I know that has happened to me in the past. And so breathing deeply will help to support orgasms for women. And then sound is like a thief, and it steals the tension from your body. For women, when we have a lot of tension in our bodies, it'll be more challenging for us to orgasm. Men, when you hold more tension in your body, you actually will orgasm too quickly. You won't last as long as you want. And then moving and dance and other practices. And dancing is so great because when you're dancing, you are breathing more deeply. You are listening to sound. You could be singing along, and you're moving your body. And a lot of times we are so still, or we just have these stuck energies within us. And knowing how to move even our sexual energy, our life force energy through us is really powerful. So Tantra, the reason that Tantra is an ancient wisdom from over 5,000 years ago, it wasn't even about having better sex. The byproduct of Tantra is that you have better sex, because if you can be dropped in and be more present with your lover, and you're able to calm the monkey mind from distracting you, and you can really tune into your partner, and you're not thinking about all the stressors of the world, you can really have intimacy and connection. That is going to be something that a woman desires and really craves, and it's so rare to be found. And I was Miss Wild thing. I've had a lot of lovers. On Halloween, I'll be 55 years young. And, I know I've had at least 100 lovers. I'm sure of it. And I never even had sex with alcohol because I don't drink alcohol. This is all sober choices, okay? And with that, only 2 lovers that I had really knew how to have this type of sex with me. And it's had it to where I don't desire having regular sex. It's almost like going, do you want something gourmet or an amazing meal with, served to you so deliciously by the best chef? And it's all these courses, and you're just oh my gosh, all your sensors are being immersed in this experience with the food, and it's just everything, the ambiance, everything is so great. Do you want to have that? Or do you want to have an experience where you're going through like a fast food drive-through, right? And it's just a quickie. And so a lot of women, there's an orgasm gap, and sometimes we're just starting to get turned on. And then men, the way our arousal cycles are different, men will already be finished. And so we're like missing each other, and there's so much more that we could share, but you're just not being educated on that. And so I'm here to really support you with it. I had a client in his 60s who wasn't able to make love to his wife. Even Viagra was failing him. It was not working. After a few weeks of coaching, their sex life began improving. And then 6 months later, he was having better sex with his wife in their 60s than when they were in their 30s. They were married for 30 years. I get like little thank you texts from them all the time. And he shared with me, he goes, I feel more power in my penis. I wish I knew about this 15 years ago. So now they're having lovemaking sessions for hours. Even before starting the day, he had an hour-long session with her. He was like, she had 6 to 8 orgasms before they went to work. He was ready to go again the next day. And he started having morning erections again. A lot of times, your cardio, if you're not having morning wood again in the mornings, you're not experiencing that. That's also an indicator of your cardiovascular health as well. So whenever I work with my clients, I also help them balance their gut microbiome, work with their health, because your body's an instrument for you to experience pleasure. Now, you can spend a lot of money on pills and creams, but they can have side effects, and something will still be missing because you're not fully present and dropped in. You don't really know how to have intimacy or connection. And a lot of times in our modern world, or even when I did my trauma informed program, over 95% of adults received inadequate parenting. So we did not get examples usually of healthy relationships in the home and how to feel safe. And men are taught to like disconnect from their emotions. Oh, big boys don't cry. You're gonna cry, I'll give you something to cry about. But women, we desire for you to be able to share your emotions with us, but that can be so challenging for men and for some women too. But it can be so challenging because you've disconnected for so long, and like, oh, now I'm in a relationship and this person is really wanting me to open up and things like that. And that can feel so awkward, right? But women crave more than just that mechanics of sex. And sometimes, we're very intuitive. We can tell when you're just like masturbating inside of our bodies, or you're trying to check out or thinking of a fantasy. And you're wondering why we're not really wanting to be with you. But it's like we can tell, we sense that something is off because we desire like intimacy, that connection, that presence. And those things you don't get in pills and creams. Like I said, the guy was able to last a long time for me to have multiple orgasms, but he wasn't fully present. And so that's like so key. And a meditation practice is great for that. I recommend using the Headspace app. I always thought I was never going to be able to meditate. My brain was like, it felt like I had 1,000 computer tabs open. I was like, there's just no way I can do this. But they have some cute little like cartoons and little lessons on and tips on how to meditate. And that's what helped me. And that's a game changer. That helped me in the world. That would help me before I go to work as a nurse. My shifts were better. Everything started being better. Now, on number 3, on how to be an irresistible lover, I'm going to share some other things with you here. I did have a client that he already had mastered non-ejaculatory orgasms before we started working together. And he was a top executive in a Fortune 500 company, but he needed help regulating his nervous system. He'd been, all the stress of working so hard took a toll on his body and his nervous system. So he developed an irregular heart rhythm, atrial fibrillation. So as we began working together, I guided him on masculine energy dynamics. He was frustrated, like his wife would nag him a lot. And I know sometimes for men, it's like, oh my gosh, she won't stop nagging me. But if you're not really embodying your masculine energy in a healthy masculine, because we can be an unhealthy masculine or healthy masculine or unhealthy feminine or healthy feminine energy dynamics. But if you're not embodying that healthy masculine energy, a woman is not going to feel safe to trust you to do things. And then they're going to nag at you. I was like, your wife is just as tired of this as you are. If you would step in and not be, he didn't feel comfortable always with his masculine energy because he saw toxic masculinity modeled by other people in the world and things like that. And he had not seen a healthy masculine model to him. He wasn't comfortable with that. So I helped him with that. And then I helped him with techniques to lower his stress and his anxiety and to start to regulate his nervous system. And we think that we are in relationship. We're like, when we're a lover or we start dating with someone, we're like, oh, they're sexy, or, I'm a leg man, or oh, well, their sign is this, or they have this, oh, they're have a lot of money, fancy car, like whatever the trappings of success or the visual things, or I love their eyes or sexy lips, whatever those traits are, they're like, oh, that's what drew me to them. And we think we're in relationship with that. We're actually in relationship with our partner's nervous systems, and we don't realize this. And this was like so mind blowing for me as well. And so it's really important that we know how to calm our own nervous systems. And then we also know how to co regulate nervous systems with our lovers, with our partners, so that when stressful times and in challenging times, things don't escalate, and that we can face challenges together and find solutions. Because when our nervous system is dysregulated, we go into Frankenstein brain and we can't problem solve. We're just like, we're very reactive and we can't think logically. And so with nervous system regulation practices, you're able to slow things down and regulate your nervous system and go into Einstein brain gets turned on, and you can have clarity and solve problems. And so that's why even in a lot of top executives or top CEOs, they will be trained on nervous system regulation work, because also when things happen in businesses and there's challenges, you'll be able to make decisions and navigate through it more. You'll be able to respond to the challenges instead of being reactive to it, right? So as I started guiding him and he started calming his nervous system, his wife started desiring him more. And he was telling me, he's like, I just can't believe this. He was like, I had no idea that my stress and my nerves and me being a bundle of nerves all the time was impacting my wife desiring me. And so now they're having better sex. I said, how long has it been since your sex life has been like this with your wife? He said, decades. And now I guided him on some other things with healing his gut microbiome. And I made some recommendations to his functional medicine cardiologist, and his atrial fibrillation has gone, and he and his marriage are thriving. So why is this important for me to share this with you? Is that when you master your energy, your sexual energy, and you regulate your nervous system, you become this really safe space for your lover, and they're able to relax, right? And this is not just going to impact your love life, it's going to positively impact your business or how you show up in your workplace. All of your relationships will begin to thrive because you can start to respond to life instead of reacting to life. Your ability to respond is your responsibility. I'll say that again. Your ability to respond is your responsibility. And I'm going to dive deeper into some tips, but again, this is what I was saying. Our relationships are deeply intertwined with the nervous system of others. And by mastering the regulation of our own nervous systems, we create that safety with our lover and other connections and get that clarity. And that just, not having these skills can cost us a lot in business and in love. So on do's and don'ts for being a better lover, one of the things is to be sure that you create a sense of safety. Now, when you think of it, it's kind of odd when you think about it, but going on a first date, when they did a study once, it's like, what do men and women fear on a first date? For men, the biggest fear men would have on a first date was that they didn't want to be laughed at. That was their biggest fear. For women, their number one fear of a first date was they didn't want to get killed. I legit will have my friends and we will share our locations now that we have that technology on our phones when we're going on a date with a new person, and let that person know. I don't think that men, if you have to do that with whenever you go out on a date with a woman, and let people know where you are, your location, what your plans are. Share maybe there's this person's social media accounts. You're not having to do that. But women, we have to worry about our safety. And so with safety, it doesn't mean even you can be with someone for a long time, but how do you create safety even when you're driving in the car? Are you driving really wild? And then, you know what I'm saying? Are you driving wild and reckless, and it's making the woman feel unsafe? Because the way the movement of the car feels when you're in the response to the car feels when you're in the driver's seat versus sitting in the passenger seat is very different. And so then there's a lag. It's like a change. And so that person, if they're not feeling safe, you're getting their nervous system starts to dysregulate, and they're not going to be able to relax. So for women, I'm going to go into the polarity as well. But for women, our hearts need to open up and we need to feel really safe for us to be open, more open sexually. I want you to think of like a battery and not to say one is positive or negative, but I want you to think on one end is the positive charge and the negative charge. And we're going to go into like masculine and feminine energy real quick. So men, you both have you're a balance more even than women of masculine and feminine energetics because you have the XY chromosome. For women, we're the XX chromosome, but men, you're more of a balance of masculine and feminine. But because our world and the patriarchy that a lot of us have grown up in, and the way our modern world has been designed by men, there has been such a thing of not having respect for feminine energy. So even young men, they'll try to push away the aspect of their feminine energy so much so that they'll be, hyper masculine, or as soon as they graduate high school, they'll join the army, or they're going to be on a football team. And if they don't play sports, they'll be big sports fans. And it's just like all pushing into that masculine energy. But there's so many beautiful things with your feminine energy as too. It's like our intuition, our creativity, and we're a balance of both. And we can do this beautiful dance between the two. But unfortunately, for so long, when men would tap into their feminine energy, other people would view that as weak, or are you a sissy, or, shame people. And that's really unfortunate. So on the one thing, when I talk about polarity, if you think of a battery having a positive and negative charge, one side's going to be masculine, not to say that it's one's positive or negative, but let's say one side of the battery is masculine energy, the other side of the battery is feminine energy. If you don't have the opposite of the energies, there won't be a spark there for that battery to have energy. Same thing in your relationships. And it doesn't matter if it's same sex or opposite sex relationship. If you're both resting at the same energies, you're both in your masculine or both in your feminine, you won't have that spark. And then after you've been cohabitating for a while or being married for a while, then you'll notice that you're both in that same, resting in the same energetic. And whenever you're doing that, you feel more like roommates than lovers. And that happens so often. So knowing how to play that dance, and even during a lovemaking session, who wants to be more in the masculine energy, who's going to be more in the feminine energy, and when you get really good at it, can you do a dance and take turns with it and just be in this amazing flow? Now, creating safety is different. Like for women, imagine for them that the positive area for them is their heart, and the negative pole of energy, like a battery, is their sex organs. For men, it's the opposite. The positive pole is your sex organ, which is your dick. The negative pole is a heart space. So what happens there is like, that's why women, if they want romance, unless when I was operating in my masculine energy, I approached sex like a dude, and I was just like, whatever, like a wild thing, Samantha from Sex and the City, that was totally me, right? But that was not me being in my feminine energy. So for men though, if they want a lot of validation with their dick, that's why men real fast will usually like send a dick pic or whatever, because that's like you really want that to be loved and accepted and desired by your partner, and then that makes you feel this extra confidence. Whereas women, they want the heart. That's why they want the romance first. They want you to open the heart center where the heart chakra is. This is where their positive pole is. And when this opens, then the legs open. And actually, the safer a woman feels, the more the G-spot orgasms will flow. A woman needs to feel really safe because they need to surrender. And if a woman has had a past of having a traumatic childhood or some kind of traumatic experience, what we can do, and men can do this as well, you can constantly be hypervigilant and scanning for safety, even if you're not aware you're doing it. If you've had some kind of childhood trauma, again, over 95% of people received inadequate parenting. If you've had some type of trauma, your subconscious can be tracking for safety even when you're not aware of it. And if we're constantly scanning for safety, orgasms don't live there. We can't constantly be scanning for safety and be surrendering and receiving orgasm. That's those things can't happen in the same space. So a woman needs to be fully, like she can fully trust you, feel really safe with you, like she can surrender and fully receive. Then she'll have the best orgasms. And so for men, again, their positive pole is in the sex organs and the penis. And then when they start to feel really loved and appreciated there and connected there, then the energy can come up to the heart space, and then their hearts can open more. So that's how that can be different. Another thing is slowing down. I'm going to give you a really amazing tip right now. So if you can, I want you to just get your hands together, put them together, and rub them back and forth really, really fast. Now I want you to rub them really slow, real slow. Now notice how much more sensation you can feel whenever you slow down. Your brain is your largest sex organ. When you're going so fast, the brain is too fast. The brain can't even process all that movement. So men, if you're doing the jackhammer move that you've seen in porn videos, you're doing a lot of effort and exerting yourself. But for the woman, we're not even feeling as much sensation when you're doing that. It's kind of feeling numb down there. So changing it up, slowing down. And then notice too, if you do this and you're rubbing your hands slowly and then take nice, slow, deep breaths and close your eyes and just feel into it, you can start to feel even more sensation as you're breathing into it. It's like I was sharing earlier, porn is really miseducating you, and breathing slowly and deeply is like such a game changer. Now, another thing is doing PC squeezes or like Kegels. You'll hear them for women. And I'm going to show something for you on the pelvic floor. Just a moment. I'll show it in just a moment. I'll go back to that. But the PC squeezes are going to be something to do. In fact, hold on. I'm going to escape from this for just a moment so I can show you this really cool video. Maybe it's here as well. Are you able to see, if you can just put in the chat if you're able to see a screen, a YouTube screen? Can everyone see that? If you'll just type a 1 in the box so I know. Okay, perfect. I'm going to show you this quick video on the pelvic floor. It was really good.
Dominique, are we supposed to be able to hear it
Yes.
too?
Okay. You just can read the text. You can read the text. I'll put a link to it in the email coming out. So what that is I want to show you about that is the pelvic floor. Like it said, the pelvic floor is like a hammock of muscles, and it goes from your pubic bone to your coccyx, your tailbone. And it's this hammock of muscles, and it supports your bladder and your intestines as well. So PC squeezes, so that Kegels, women will do this commonly after having children and stuff to strengthen the pelvic floor. Something that men can do too. It increases your blood flow to your pelvic floor. It strengthens your erections. And the way you locate where the PC muscle is, as you're going to, what you're going to do is whenever you're urinating, you'll just stop the flow of urine. So let a little bit of urine come out, and then just squeeze your muscles to stop that flow. And whenever you stop the flow of the urine, then that's where you've located the PC muscle, right? And then you're going to relax it. So, and it also is just as important as contracting and fully contracting that muscle is fully relaxing it. Because we know a lot of people that are way too tight in their asshole area, they're way uptight. Like they got something shoved up their ass and they need to relax. So you want to be able to have that flexibility. You want to have strength, but also flexibility, kind of like you would do bicep curls, right? But you're not always going to, it's also important to do your stretching, and it's also important to work your triceps. So it's important to have the strength and have that flexibility. So doing a round of PC squeezes, they're really great to do. Like if you're going to the gym, you could do them between reps whenever you're resting. You can do it at a traffic light, when commercials come on. And you only want to do it whenever you're urinating to initially make that brain body connection. from, to where they're located. And then you don't want to be doing it always when you're urinating, because if you do that, you can cause like a backflow within the urine that could lead to like a urinary tract infection or something. Not likely, but it is a risk. So do it just as you're out and about and start to strengthen that pelvic floor, and you'll see how it's going to really improve things in the bedroom, and it will build up your arousal as well, and again strengthen your erections. So I would do maybe at least 3 sets a day, doing 30 each, and then you can build up to doing 50 each, 50 3 sets of 50, and you can do them throughout the day. And the more you do them, the stronger it will be, and it will help you as you're older. So, you hear things of like depends and urinary incontinence as people age. This will help you to avoid that as well. So here, right here, you can see like where it says the pubic bone, that little hammock of muscles is right there in the diagram to the coccyx. So that's your pelvic floor. So it's really important to keep those nice and strong. So I just shared with you, things on how to increase that magnetism and attract amazing lovers, how your sexual energy can attract that. So doing things like meditation is really great. So you're able to calm your nervous system down. Doing a breath of fire, some breath work can also help increase your magnetism. I have a video on my YouTube. If anyone has questions about that, let me know. I'll share that with you. And then it will just help you to, if you learn how to not constantly leak your sexual energy, and I don't believe in like no fap or you should be super celibate or whatever for a long time. Pleasure is medicine. And if anyone deserves to enjoy your body, it's you. But you just don't want to be ejaculating like, several times during the day, because it's going to impact your life force energy and your vitality. And you're leaking that, and it's lowering your magnetism. So whenever you're able to not ejaculate as often, you increase that magnetism, and then you can focus it in and like be more magnetic, attract better lovers by just not always leaking your sexual energy all the time through frequent ejaculation. Because just notice how tired you are when you ejaculate frequently, and like how you want to go back to sleep. And it really will diminish your energy. A lot of people aren't aware of that. And if you ejaculate on a full moon, you notice you'll be more tired than usual. So usually I recommend to my clients not to ejaculate on a full moon, because you'll feel double the effect of feeling like, kind of almost like this energetic hangover after doing that. Being an unforgettable lover that women crave is like, we really crave you being present. Meditative practices help you with that. We slowing things down and just knowing with that activity that I showed you to slow things down. Breathing deeply and guiding them to breathe deep too, because we mirror one another. So if you're breathing deeply, that's going to invite them, and you can even like whisper there and say, "Oh, breathe, breathe deep," and doing things, because women can be so self-conscious about their bodies as well. So um, just understanding that and just helping them to feel safety. When they feel safe and they feel like you're not judging them, that they can really be themselves in front of you and they can let go, they'll also be able to be more orgasmic. And then just being an irresistible lover is just like slowing things down, strengthening your pelvic floor, increasing the blood flow, and, just being your own best lover and really getting to know your body, and to stop trying to be so performative and repeat what you're seeing done on porn, and really connect with your body and connect with your lover and talk about like, what would they like to do? What are they curious about, and exploring with them, or doing pleasure mapping and doing other things with them. Again, you can spend the next few years learning on how all this works, and you can be able to have that mastery, but you might get frustrated and give up. Or I can guide you and teach you on these practices if you really want to dive deeper, and help you just overcome any challenges you experience as you learn that highest level of peak performance and self mastery. And if you want to know how I can help even more, I'm just going to share something really quick, and then we're going to dive into a Q&A, okay? So I have a program and it's a beta program. It's my first time to offer this to men as a group program for empowered masculinity. It's going to be a 6-week group program for men only. And what we're going to cover during that program is we're going to go into it's going to be 6 weeks to unlock your full potential, unleash your sexual power, create deep, fulfilling, and intimate connections that transcend the bedroom. And this was going to help you in how you show up in the world, the bedroom and beyond. Week one, we're going to go into a lot of mindset, exploring that mind body connection, how your mindset and any limiting beliefs you may be having can be impacting your performance, and just learning techniques to overcome any anxiety and increase that confidence. And then learning some mindfulness practices that will enhance the pleasure, and you can have deeper presence and create more intimacy. Then we're going to go into sexploration, like techniques for pleasure mapping, the arousal scale, where the orgasm gap is, why women are not having orgasms as frequently as men are, and techniques to expand sensory awareness and explore different forms of pleasure, discovering erogenous zones, understanding how to have heightened pleasure, deeper sensations. And, this is just going to help unlock being a better lover, because getting curious about it and unlearning the limiting things that you've been learning through porn or being miseducated. On week three, we're going to go over stamina endurance and just some exercises that are going to help you with increasing your stamina, and different techniques and different self-pleasure rituals that will help you with your stamina as well. Breathing techniques, and also some relaxation techniques, so you increase your endurance and you can last longer and stronger. And so again, just any performance challenges as far as like PE, ED, understanding what are some of the subconscious triggers of those. And I don't know, a lot of men, if they have ED, that can also energetically be, a lot of times men will also have had a challenge with their mother when they're having ED. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it is something that the science and studies have shown. And learning how to overcome those challenges, and just different mindset practices that will have you change how you're showing up in the bedroom, and not have it being so performative, more about connection, but having your own peak performance and just how you are in your body. Connection is everything, and knowing how to connect intimately with a partner. And if you go around the world and you're really disconnected from yourself, it can be challenging to connect with someone else. And then you kind of get lost and frustrated and kind of throw your hands up and give up, and your relationships will suffer. So just being able to have that emotional intimacy, some emotional intelligence on this, and how to communicate effectively, you can explore those things, and so that you can have enhance your relationships and approach dating in a different way, and understanding about boundaries, and creating safe environments so that you can have enhanced intimacy. And then week 6 is just integration, bringing it all together, celebrating your wins, and what are you going to be doing, setting intentions for the future as you continue to move forward. Now, you will get Telegram support during this program, and you'll be sharing and connecting with the group of men that are there. You'll be getting and giving feedback there and support throughout. And I will be coming in there into the Telegram and answering any questions and giving feedback during business hours, Monday through Friday. And so you have that extra layer of support. And then there's going to be some bonuses. I have a female pleasure masterclass replay, which goes over the 9+ types of female orgasms and where they're located in the body. I'm a nurse. I understand the anatomy and physiology of the body, and where these are located. And I'll share those with you. And that's even more of a value to be here in the program when you go through this bonus, because you get to ask me questions and be guided, or you can watch it and then pop something in the Telegram group, and we can dive deeper into anything that came up for you whenever you watch the video. You're like, oh, how about this? And then we can go deeper into it. Healing from Sexual Shame Masterclass. It has been shown that shame starts being embedded into us our earliest experience with shame usually start at age 15 months old. So even if on a conscious level, we don't think we're experiencing shame, we are experiencing shame. Even if we don't have experience about shame with our sexuality, in some area of our life, shame is trying to pop up, and it's the lowest vibrating emotion. And shame is also lowering your magnetism, right? It's because it's impacting how your energy is. And if you're not experiencing shame, women do experience a lot of shame around sex. There's a lot of shame around female sexuality in our society. And if you can understand this, then you can also guide your lover so that they're able to relax and let go and not feel shame around sex and intimacy. Then there's a 12 Days to Tantric Self-Love ebook with video links in there. I had one person that wasn't even a client. She did the 12 days of self-love. She says, I'm going to do it again for another 12 days. And that she went to see her psychiatrist and they asked her, what was she doing differently? Because they could see such big changes in her. And she shared with them that she was doing my ebook and they wanted my website and everything to check it out for themselves, which I thought that was really awesome. I created that several years ago. And it was just the things that I did to start changing from how I used to date, like Samantha on Sex in the City, and start healing myself with Tantra. Bonus number 4 is going to be me guiding you on opening up that heart energy space. We can all, men and women both, be closed down in this area and armored from past wounds from mother-father wound or heartbreak, and we kind of close off and we're restricted, and then we're not able to connect. And this is our connecting energy center. It connects us with our lovers. It connects us with the world around us. And I'm going to guide you on a meditation for opening up that heart space. It's a $444 value. And then the Help Man's Health Stamina Replay, how to last longer and stronger in bed with Q&A. You'll have lifetime access to these bonuses as well. And, these powerful methods that I've taught have helped my clients to move beyond average pleasure, have stronger erections, and even close 7-figure deals. Now, I cannot make income guarantees and results may vary, but that has happened for some of my clients just within working with me for a few weeks. They closed like the biggest deal of the company. It was a startup that was open for 3 years that they had. And he was addicted to, ejaculating frequently, and he started changing the dynamics of this, and then he started seeing other opportunities in his workplace and closed this deal, which is really amazing. Bonus number 6 is just a video on boundaries. Don't be people pleasing. You don't need to be Mr. Nice Guy, but you don't need to be a jerk either. But having healthy boundaries and understanding masculine and feminine dynamics and understanding your values. And so I'm going to create a workshop to share with you on boundaries, because this is going to help you to have relationships, and not just romantic relationships, business relationships, friendships, boundaries with your family. This will save a lot of your energy, because a lot of times we are leaking a lot of our energy and we're not as dynamic and as magnetic as we could be, because everyone's pulling at us to do all these other things, right? And so really taking our own power back. The total value for all of this is $11,308. But right now, you can get this for $797 for the next 48 hours. At July 22nd at midnight Central Standard Time, it will go up to $997. But for the first 48 hours, you get special savings of $797. And this program will start on August the 17th. So my assistant is going to just drop the link if you want to check that out and save that for later, or you can screenshot and take a photo of that QR code. You can check it out. And also you can reach out to me if you have any questions after this masterclass as well. And then I'm just going to drop in and get into answering any questions you have. So just a moment and I will stop sharing the screen. So if anyone has any questions, if you want to drop them into the box, I'm going to look real quick in the chat box and see if I missed anything. So my support team did drop the link in there. Oh, thank you, Shay, for sharing the link to the pelvic floor animation. You're awesome. And then I'm just going to stop the share and come back. Then I get to see everyone. Let's see. Awesome. So nice to see all of your faces. Now I get to see the slides, and we didn't get to see the slides, but with everything that I shared, I'm just curious, what questions do you have? Is there anything that came up for you or that you would like to dive deeper on? Because I love to nerd out on this stuff, and I would love to answer any questions that you have. So just raise your hand on the screen or where it says reactions. You can do the thing for the hand raising, and I don't know if you're able to unmute yourself. I'm not sure what settings I set. Okay, perfect. We'll start with Shay. Hi, Shay.
Hey.
Hi.
So I had a question about the whole ejaculation piece.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking is because I found out in my mid-20s that I have 0 sperm. So when we talk about sexual energy, I was wondering whether or not that depletes me the same way. Because the only time that I really felt depleted was this time that I orgasmed 8 times one night. And I literally, the next day, I couldn't handle it. But besides that, I can't think of a time where I felt so depleted. I mean, I can last like, I don't know, like 6 hours without any problem. And so I'm just
Amazing.
wondering, does sexual energy, is it a sperm-ish thing, or is it specifically ejaculate thing? Do you know the answer to that?
Yes, I do. And I love this question. This is great. So what it is a lot of times, even if people have had a vasectomy and they're not losing a lot of sperm, it's just the energy of it as well. So whenever you think about it, like whenever you're ejaculating, like the energy is like literally shooting out the penis, right? So it's just separating the orgasm from the ejaculation because you want the energy of the orgasm. Imagine when women have full body orgasms and our energy is going more inward. So where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you can learn to even as you're having pleasure and orgasms, have them regardless of how much semen is lost. It will help you to not feel as depleted because you're not losing a lot of semen since you don't already have that. And you're not rebuilding that reserve all the time, right? So that is a plus that's helpful for you. But if you're able to bring that energy inward and upward, I'll have my clients say, I can feel my orgasm from the top of my head down to my big toe. And you could start to have like full body orgasms and orgasm more the way the women do. Because a lot of times men, if you look at like the clitoris, the tip of the clit is like the head of the penis, right? And when women have clitoral orgasms, it's just like quick, bzz, and then it's kind of done. Well, same thing for men. It can be like a really quick orgasm and then, all right, we're done. But if you're able to have those deeper orgasms, then you're just like, you can feel it all through your body. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the work by Master Montauk. I've attended some of his workshops. We do like a microcosmic orbit and circulate that energy through your body. Is that helpful with what answer that I gave you?
Yeah, super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you can breathe that in. It's awesome what you're doing. But yeah, 8 times in one night. That's a lot. That's amazing though. For sure. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for your presence here, for your help, and for adding those links in there too. And then hi Joe. Let's see. Yeah, go right ahead. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. So quick question on magnetism, and you said a word that kind of resonated with me. It was leaking, like leaking your sexual energy and stuff. So I'm curious, I guess like 2 scenarios, right? That probably every man here deals with for the most part, like leaking your sexual, or I guess maybe leaking your magnetism perhaps would be a way to say it. When you're living your everyday life and you're like scrolling on your news feed and you're looking at that hot chick and you're looking at that hot chick, and of course it kind of gets you in that loop where you keep going. Like, is that reducing your magnetism and causing you to like leak sexual energy? And another way to say it is like, I don't know, you're out and about, or maybe you're at the gym, it's the same phenomenon, right? There's a cute looking girl, there's a good looking girl. You look, is there like a balance of like, I can appreciate these things? Or is it like kind of a trap of like, unless you're really a master, you're probably leaking and you're reducing your magnetism? I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I totally do. This is such a great question. I actually had a client too that was married and super faithful, been with his wife for decades, right? But he would be so closed off because he was trying to make women so comfortable around him. He would just like literally, and he'd had some problems with erectile dysfunction because he was trying to control his turn on so much because he didn't want to be disrespectful. But I'm like, if there's a beautiful woman at work, I was like, do you really think you're going to go and have sex with that woman? Would you really act upon that? He was like, no, of course I wouldn't. I was like, allow yourself to feel some of that. Like feeling some of that is good. And then if you know your breathwork practice, like breathe how that feels and breathe it up. I want you to imagine like from your sex organs and from your dick, from the top of your head to your brain, that there's a straw, and just like breathe that up and bring that energy up into you and let it charge you up. Right. It's a lot when you act on it and then you're like, now you're going to go ejaculate over it. And then you lose that life force energy. Right. But also you got to think of like hooks we can all have, especially if we're empaths. And one of my coaches was talking about this just yesterday. It's like there can be all these hooks and these things that are hooking our attention. And when we keep shooting our attention, like we have all these tabs open on the computers. So we also need to be intentional and know, because where our attention goes, energy flows. So like, how is that serving us? Do we always constantly want to have like everything grabbing our attention? because then that's really going to keep us from not being able to focus in. And it has us get, even people that probably would be diagnosed with ADHD, it's just almost like the technology that we have at our fingertips all the time. We're so used to splitting our focus, and then we really need to be present with the lover. We're not able to because we're so used to jumping our attention from here to there. So just being aware of like where we are putting our attention, right? Because our energy, energy is currency, a current. So just like money, it's like, and our energy and our time, like you don't get time back. We can make more energy. We can make more money. We don't get our time back. So that's why I do appreciate you being here and spending your time with me now, each one of you. So just think about that. And just also like, do we want to be focusing on things that are draining or negative or, like for me now, when I learned about Tantra sex, I didn't want to have casual sex like I used to. Now I'm just like, I don't want to be with someone unless I would want to be like that person. Like, is this person that I'm wanting to turn me on? Are they like junk food for me, or are they food for my soul? Like, what am I tuning into? Because you're still tuning into their energy. So just not to put fear into you, but just to have an awareness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. That was great. Let me see. I'm going to go back to gallery view here. Anyone else have any questions? Just raise your hand. You can unmute if you want. And I see a question in the chat. I'll answer next. Go ahead.
I have a question, if that's all right.
Yes, please.
First off, thanks for putting this on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I have a question in regards to, I guess, the frequency of the practices. You've mentioned delaying, or the control of ejaculation, as well as like like you're just saying, like the last guy's question of consciously, being aware of the tabs that you're kind of opening.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a perfect recipe, just like exercise and other things, for a routine of how long you should delay that before you actually allow an ejaculation, right? As well as like, there's so much of that you can suppress, right? Because you kind of mentioned of like you and your girlfriends sharing locations.
Mm-hmm.
That is a little bit, right? I think that is a conscious kind of like, we don't want to be too in our heads, what you mentioned, but also a little bit as men, you kind of have to be, right? Because like you're saying, men are conscious that, we're kind of criminalized or seen as a threat until we're, like you're saying, realize, okay, this guy isn't a creep, of finding that balance, I guess, of not suppressing, like you're saying, your masculine energy while still being able to appropriately, flaunt it in a way or express it.
Yeah, that's such a great question, because you can be in your masculine energy and like be who you are without, making someone feel uncomfortable. And like you being just so comfortable with who you are creates like a lot of safety. Your nervous system, regulating your nervous system, will create so much safety, right? So, but if men are always, like for me, I've also said, like if I've been on a date sometimes with someone and I might have wanted to like get it on, who knows? But if the whole time they're always kind of like handsy and grabby and like being too close, and I don't think that's what you're talking about, but I just want to show this example. It put me in defense mode. All of a sudden I'm having to do like this and push away. And then it gets me in the energy of like, I'm already on defense mode now. I'm not able to really relax. So if a man could just be like really relaxed, and the two men that I had that were like my best lovers that were so tapped in, like they literally get treated like women. I swear to God. And the fact that women just go like, they'll never gonna send like a dick pic out. I think one after I knew him for years and I moved to California, he finally sent me. I didn't ask for him, but like they're just not gonna send that. They're not trying to like, it's like women are coming to them and they're just being like, I don't even know that I want to give you my energy. They are so comfortable and so confident, and they're not even sure. Like, I don't even know if you're worth that I would even want to like put my dick in you, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just changes the dynamics because they know their value. And they know that a lot of people are out here just for egos or ego validation, or they have their issues, they haven't done their work, and they're just not going to be bothered with that. And that makes it, because a guy isn't like always, when I had another guy that was a friend of mine, and he would not masturbate. I was like, dude, he had been celibate for a couple of years. I was like, dude, you really got to masturbate. Oh, I don't do that shit. And we gone to breakfast together. When I would ever go to breakfast with him, he was always trying to talk to he wasn't being inappropriate, but his energy, even though he was calmly saying things and he was not being disrespectful to them, his energy was, there's so much sexual tension in him. Like that dude needed to release that shit. I was like, hello. I don't know if you ever watched Dexter. Who was that cop that was like that really intense black man that was like, so like, I was like, oh my God, you remind me of that dude, man. But he was like so on edge all the time. I was like, dude, if you would just like, just for the love of Pete, like one time, please. Because women are feeling that and it's making them uncomfortable because he's on edge because he's just holding so much back, right? So it's just like really feeling so comfortable with yourself and so relaxed and just boom, being present with who you are. And you're just like not bothered by it. That being assured is really beautiful. Like for women can be like, oh, like I don't have to be in defense mode. I can really just get to know them and see what's up, what's going on. Now, as far as practices, the more you do something, I want you to think too, a lot with men, you get used to, some men want to last longer, but think about the first time whenever you started masturbating. We don't want our parents catching us. So what do? We do everything really fast so we don't get caught by our parents. So what does that do? Neuroplasticity, brain's the largest sex organ. We create a pleasure pathway where we get from point A to point B fast. Then later, and so how many years have we done it like that? And that groove in that brain is like a ski slope. It's a path that's really worn with neuroplasticity, the pathways of pleasure. And it's a slippery slope. You can go down that slope really fast. So with Tantra, with the things I want to work with my clients' brains with neuroplasticity, create different pleasure pathways that will last longer. So we start to have practices where we're relating to pleasure in a different way, not even like how you would usually do pleasure. I'll give you one hack really quick too. For masturbating, when you're self-pleasuring, you want to start lasting longer. Whenever you masturbate, reverse your grip. Instead of holding your dick like this, muscle memory. Your mind and your body's like, oh, when we do this for a while, we ejaculate. Reverse your grip like this and do it. And then see what happens. You're doing different ways of experiencing your body. And the frequency of how often you should ejaculate depends upon your age, your health status, and things like that. And so it varies to where you're a younger man, you can usually ejaculate like once a week. And as you get older, you might want to just ejaculate like once a month. So it just varies. And I go into that whenever I work with my clients based on their health status and where they are. Did that answer your questions? I know you inspired some extra information. I know you didn't ask for, but
no, absolutely. Yeah. That was very thorough. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, great examples. So it's almost concept of like, you brush your teeth with opposite hand, trying to.
Yes. And you're doing that, everyone will help increase neuroplasticity as well. Because we get so habituated. And then we want to show up in dating or relationship or in the bedroom in a different way, but we get so habituated in the way we've been doing things. Right? It's wild. I know in the chat there was a really great question too. And my apologies for goofing on the slides earlier. I didn't realize. I was so excited to talk about sex. I don't know. That was my own premature, instead of maybe the PE, my premature education without my slides. Oh man. Okay.
Should have slowed your breathing down.
I know. I was so excited, everyone. I did do some deep belly breaths before we started, and then I did some dancing. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's so funny. I love seeing her. Let's see. Here we go. Sometimes it doesn't let me see the full question here. I scroll past it. Here when someone says that they're gay, and thanks so much for being here. I've noticed in the LGBT community that there are a lot more men interested in sex than interested in being lovers. Is this because of the double negative polarities? I think that could actually be it, because you got to think like they're like leading with their dicks, like here. And it's, it's so easy for men, and if it's two dudes, it's like really easy to decide to have sex. Like when I was in my masculine energy and I was acting like a dude, even though I'm not a dude, I'm just like, oh, you down to fuck? Like, let's see. have you been tested? Are we going to have condoms? I'm like, we don't even go to dinner, but do you know how to, I would like literally interview them. We can just meet up. Like we can just meet up. And if, what are your preferences? I'm like interviewing them to see if we're compatible. We don't need to go to a date or anything. I was totally acting like a dude. So you have two people coming from just that energetic. And so then you have like with gay men, like they're having a wild time because there's not like this feminine of the trying to slow down, right? And so that can be different, really challenging if you're really wanting to have like a relationship with someone, you know? So I think having that, and I won't say that both of those polarities are negative, but just having both of those polarities. And but even with gay relationships or same-sex relationships, when you're having sex and having that spark, one will be more in their feminine and one will be more in their masculine energy. When you want to keep the dynamic and that spark going, so that applies to same-sex or opposite sex relationships. But thank you so much for being here and for asking that question. That's really super dope. Does anyone else want to ask me any questions?
If no one else has any questions, I actually have two, so I can wait.
Okay, we'll see. Does anyone else want to unmute and ask a question? Because if you do, I'm here. We have a few more minutes.
Just super quick technical question here.
Yes.
The 6-month mastery class that you offered for us, what day of the week or time would it be?
Okay. Such a great thing. It's going to be 6 weeks, not 6 months. It's going to be 6 weeks. Yeah. But every week we're going to meet on Thursday at the same time, like from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, it'll be a really great experience. Thank you for asking. And usually to work with me, it costs thousands of dollars to be coached one-to-one with me. No, one-to-one coaching is like a bigger investment, but my life was changed by men that understood these things. So I'm so thankful. And when I first got my first Tantra certification, the first woman I studied with for 6 months, she was like, "Oh, I don't want you to work with men. I won't give you your certification if you're working with men." I'm not sure why she's not showing me right now, but I'm picking on the spot. So, I don't want you to be working with men because, you might cross the line because it's not professional. I'm not supposed to date or have sex with any of my clients, which I'm fine with that. But that's a big no. She's like, "Oh, men are going to try to be with you." And I was like, "I can hold my boundaries. I'm fine with that." And I had trained with her for 6 months. And she's like, "I'm sorry, if you want to work with men, I can't certify you." And I said to her, "I can't leave the men behind. If I don't share with the men, one, who are the women going to be with? And I can't leave the men behind because if it wasn't for a man, I would have still been stuck in that old way of being that I was a decade ago." And so I'm really passionate about supporting men because that man literally changed my whole life. My whole world changed my life path, everything. And the cool thing about it is it happened in LA when I was working as a travel nurse there. And then a decade to the day after I had my first soulgasm with that man, LA Weekly did a article on me about my Tantra and soulgasms. And I was like, that's just such a full circle thing. It happened in LA. So that was really interesting. Okay, go right ahead. You have a question, so Yishay, or?
Yeah, that's okay.
Cool. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I had a question. You talked about like women and their different orgasms, right? Like you said, there's like 6 or 9 or something like that. So I had a question about, so after my divorce, I found out that I can give women orgasms just by talking with them. And this one woman said that she had like 6 ways of orgasming. But she's told me the fact that when I was talking with her, it came through her ear canal and went down her vagus nerve and it like popped. What is that? And is that a thing? She called it a spiritual orgasm, but literally this was on video chat. I wasn't even touching her. So
yeah, I think that an auditory response, again, your brain is your largest sex organ, right? So with your ear, with having that, it could be something more like an eargasm. Some people have a coregasm, like if they're working out in the gym and using their core muscles, they'll literally orgasm while they're in the gym. There's so many different types of orgasms, but there's also more of a spiritual orgasm, which could be similar to that as like an energy orgasm. And I can have an energy orgasm like without being touched if I have that connection with that energy. But it sounds like if she can feel it coming through her ear canal, that it's an eargasm and it's coming down and it's hitting into that area. And like, sometimes like Barry White, the way he would sing his music, hello, his voice, like a lot of times it's like, oh my gosh, that's like sounds so arousing. Or when we listen to ASMR videos, right? There's so many things and sensations, and it can be really amazing on an auditory level, or how music can have us feel and change an emotion. So
even though it begins in the ear canal, you're saying the fact that it does eventually get to the.
I would almost call it like an eargasm. If it's an auditory triggered,
yeah,
I would say it would be something more like that.
And
but there's a lot of things that are auditory that are turn-ons, and again, the brain's right. The brain's right here. Your largest sex organ is connected right direct to your ear canal.
Thank you so much for that. My second question, just really quick. So she was looking at my face on video chat, and so she wasn't even touching herself, but she said something exploded above her and almost in her brain or above. It sounded like Kundalini, but
that sounds like Kundalini.
Yeah, but all she was doing was observing my face. She wasn't even observing me jacking off. She was watching my face, but my intention was extremely present. So if she's not touching herself, if she's just looking at my face, is that also kind of an energy orgasm then?
That is an energy orgasm. And whenever I was with this lover that I had prolonged ecstatic states of pleasure with for hours, my sexual energy was able to rise through. And everyone, Kundalini is like in Tantra, it's the energy, it's the symbolism for it is like two snakes, and it, like the caduceus, like in the medical staff, the snakes going up the spine is the Kundalini energy. It lays dormant usually at the base of our spine. And whenever I was with this lover, that energy was able to continue to rise up till I had a third eye and a crown chakra. It sounds like her crown chakra got opened up with that. You can do that. I've actually had a client that I was guiding him on a meditation to open his heart chakra. And this man was in his 70s, and he was so shut down with his sexual energy. I help people with porn addiction a lot, and I don't recommend to people to watch porn, or if you do, be sure it's ethically sourced, but don't become dependent upon it. And I was guiding him on this meditation, and I was telling him before, like, dude, you need to watch porn or something, because he was so shut down from his sexual energy. It's like flatline. It's like, you need to do your turn on somehow. So he had been doing that. And then I was going to do this heart chakra thing. I was just guiding him on his breath. He's sitting on a couch, fully dressed, not touching himself. He starts having, I was like, wow, he was having these kriyas, these energy things. I could see his body was starting to shudder. So I just stopped doing the heart meditation. I just guided him on breath. And then the next thing you know, his head is thrown back and he's like having a full body orgasm. And he's like, oh my God, I've never felt anything like that before. And I was like, keep your head straight. So you keep the energy going straight. You don't want to kink it by having your head too far back. So it was really amazing. And he was like, oh my God, I've never experienced anything like that before. And the wild thing was, I was in the Bay Area at the time, and it was cold, and I get cold very easily. And I was sitting there, and my palms, and I'm not aroused or attracted to this man at all. And I'm sitting there, and I didn't tell him until later, because I didn't want to take him out of his experience. My palms started getting sweaty, and my thighs started trembling. It's like I could feel that. And I've been able to feel that in person with people, but it was really a trip for me to be able to feel that through a screen. So that energy can be felt for sure.
Well, because the other people have said that, like, I'm like a sexual empath or sexual shaman. Would you consider yourself in that kind of category because of the fact that you can feel their energy then?
Yeah, I mean, it is like an energy. I don't know. I think to be a shaman, you have to have certain levels of different things. But do you know who Shaman Durek is?
No.
Okay. I actually did a thing in Clubhouse with him. And this is really funny. I was dating someone at the time, and that guy was here at my house, and the guy was a lot younger than me. He was of age though, but he was a lot younger than me. And he was like, I guess off in my bedroom while I was on Clubhouse hosting a room. And Shaman Direct was like, because he knows me from off outside, and he was like, can I guide you on like having an energy orgasm? Because he was really he's totally in love with a woman. He wasn't trying to be inappropriate with me, right? He was just wanting to demonstrate to people like the stuff. And he was like, can I show you that? And I was like, sure. And he guides me. And I literally started having an orgasm, and I had my eyes closed. I started having an orgasm, and then I could feel at the end of my couch that my guy is sitting there. And I just kept going with it. And then whenever I was done, he goes, what the hell just happened? And I was like, oh, is this Shaman?
Can you type his name in the chat? I would love for you to type his name.
Yeah, I actually have an endorsement by him, but he was really just doing it to show people like what this is about, and we know one another. And
Thank you so
so,
much for answering the questions, and thank you so much for the amazing presentation. Really
yeah,
resonated with me.
thank you so much. Thanks for being here, and thanks for letting me know that I was slipping on my slides. And then let me just see if anyone else has any questions. I think we went a little over on time, but I really enjoy being able to share with each one of you. And, it's really important that we know how powerful we are. Like that sexual healing that Marvin Gaye would sing about, like you can do that shit. And you can open women up in a way that you're going to be like, what? And it can be so deeply healing for you and the partner that you're with. You just need to be careful not to just do it with anyone, because you don't want any stalkers. Okay. They need to be they need to be able to handle this level of pleasure. So if does anyone else have any more questions for me? Because I do have a few more minutes. Just let me know. And again, I'll pull up on the screen really quick. I have these little FAQs, but if you need to leave, I totally respect that, because I am going over on time. But just some of the things like, do I need a partner? You don't. A lot of times when you start to do these practices on your own, it's actually easier to master this when you don't have a lover trying, again, like I said, the habitual stuff, getting you into your old patterns. You can start to having a new relationship with pleasure, and then you can add a partner in on doing this. If you don't have the money to invest, just think about, how we show up in the bedroom is how we show up in the boardroom, is how we show up in the Zoom room, and how are your relationships being impacted. So investing in yourself, for me, investing in myself has always been the very best investment I could make. And when you invest in being able to be fully in your power and your turn on, I mean, that's going to change your life in so many ways. We spend money on things that never give us a return on investment. We can spend hundreds of dollars on our iPhones, on a bag, on different things that we blow money on that aren't going to serve us, but don't transform us. And so these are the things I love. I love always the best coaches always have coaches. I have coaches. I always invest in myself. And how do I know this work with me? If you're just ready to be open and show up, it's only going to work if you're ready to do the work. I can't give you any guarantees, but if you follow the things that I teach you, you're gonna experience some wins and some results that you will be like, wow, I didn't even know I could experience this in my body. If you don't have the time, we're just going to be doing this for an hour and a half each week, and then you'll have time to do the practices. I would say make the time, make a way out of no way, prioritize yourself, prioritize your pleasure, right? Make this time for yourself, because when we start to invest in ourselves and make time for ourselves and be our own best lovers, we attract better lovers, and other people will make more time for us as well, because we're showing up for ourselves first. And if you don't want to give up on watching porn, I'm not trying to shame anyone from watching porn. Just porn there's younger and younger men are having erectile dysfunction. There's higher incidences of ED in younger men, and it's connected to porn consumption. And so I read a book and a bunch of studies on your brain on porn. So, sometimes I eat really healthy, and then sometimes I go and have junk food. I'm not trying to have anyone be a saint here. Just be aware of what you're taking and consuming. Try to make sure that it's ethical porn, but just know that this could be challenging your erections. If you're having some ED, that porn could be the culprit. And I'm going to dive deeper into how porn impacts your sex life during the program. And we begin on August the 17th. You can just take a screenshot of this, and there's more information on the page. And so, and I think might even be some payment plans there, like if you pay it once or break it up into 2 payments. So begins on August the 17th, and I'd love to see you there and just dive in deeper and see, what's fully possible for you to be able to experience in your body and in your life. Because it's really a game changer. With the way we're approaching relationships and dating, so whack. It's so like the way things are, but we have to be the change we want to see in the world. We have to show up differently in relationships. So Jay, do you have a question? You raised your hand, or was that from earlier? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. Earlier in the presentation, you were talking about the different colors of Tantra. Which one are you teaching? Like what, I guess,
Okay.
what color?
In the program or? In the
Yeah,
program, White Tantra is like great question. White Tantra is meditation, breathwork practices, and those things are White Tantra. Pink Tantra is working on the heart chakra. We do the heart chakra meditation. Those are pink Tantra practices. The red Tantra practices are going to be like your self-pleasure rituals that you're going to be doing. And so you start to create different pleasure pathways in your brain and your body. And those will be the red Tantra practices. Initially, you can do them with yourself, and then you can incorporate these things into your love life. And then a neo form of Tantra is black Tantra that infuses elements of kink and BDSM with Tantra and the energetics of that. We won't be going into that. Of course, if during one of our weekly calls, if someone wants to dive into that during Q&A, I can share some things on that. But those are mainly we'll be going over white, pink, and red Tantra during this time together.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I haven't been on Clubhouse as much lately, Shay, but I will be returning more. I was on there a lot. And then last year I was in a very rigorous program to become a trauma-informed master coach. And so that took a lot of my focus. And so now I'm coming back and sharing more on YouTube and everything. Oh, thank you so much. Someone said, you guys should do this. I coach privately with Dominique and she's the best. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you. I have legit some of the best clients. I really love the people that I work with. It is amazing. So just really society really is limiting us as to who we can really be. And I say, really tap into how powerful you are, because we're so much power. There's so much buried treasure here within you that you haven't excavated or tapped into. But the world for us to be consumers is having us get the fancy car, the status symbol. We're always trying to do all these things, right? And it's there's so much gold right here. It's all right here within you. Let's unlock that shit. Tap into the magic and the power of that and see how your life starts to change. And then the other things aren't getting with it. Some of the silly stuff for me, it doesn't mean that much to me, because I understand where my true value is and what's really important to me. And I'm not going to waste my time on certain things or my money on certain things, and just like I said, I have a puzzle here. And one of the things is you can have some pieces and go, okay, I know breath work, I know meditation, this, but it's if I just gave you this puzzle and gave you the pieces and you try to put them together, how much longer would that take you? And how could you maybe get frustrated and give up? But if you don't have a blueprint or something to say, a guide to say, hey, this is where this goes, and then this works with that, or no, that's not a fit, it's completely different. Because I actually did have someone, I'll share this real quick as we're wrapping up. I had someone that when I was getting my Tantra hours a decade ago, about 8 years ago, to become a Tantra coach, there was a young man that was following me on Instagram. He was married with 2 little kids. And I said, if you and your wife want, you can find someone for just childcare. All I was asking was to get childcare. I was going to give him free coaching. I said, I can teach you some things and do some coaching for you and your wife. Oh, no, we can't find time for that. We don't have time for that. No. So he was trying to figure out on his own. And then a few months later, he messaged me and said his wife left him because he was so focused on trying to have non-ejaculatory orgasms and figure out himself. And women were very intuitive, and he was just trying to keep practicing with her. So she wasn't feeling connection with him, and she got tired of it and she left. So it's sometimes how much did that cost you? You just wouldn't even get a babysitter. I was going to gift you with some free coaching, So it's just we think sometimes, what is this going to cost me? What is it going to cost us when we don't find a solution to our challenges, or we don't level up in areas of our lives? So I'll be sharing the replay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks so much for being here and for your patience. And I hope you have an amazing evening, and I'll be sharing the replay with you soon. And if you have any questions, or if you feel like I don't want group calls, I would just rather have one-to-one coaching, just send me an email and reply to the emails that you get from me about this. And you can request a complimentary discovery call and see if we're fit to work together. Have an amazing evening, everyone. Blessings.